Company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview. Joining us today is Adam Serakovsky, the Executive Chairman of Kinetiko Energy. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Mark. It's terrific to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us today. So, Kinetiko Energy, a clean energy solution for South Africa. Could you please start us off by just introducing the company in a few words and tell us about the project and what you're all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kinetiko Energy is an Australian stock exchange listed public company. We have been exploring for onshore natural gas in South Africa for approximately 10 years. And in that 10 years, we've had a great deal of success, Mark. We've been able to prove up a contingent resource and been able to establish that in the shallower margins of the Karoo Basin, just about 180 kilometres southeast of Johannesburg, near a lot of energy infrastructure. There are abundant gas compartments and reservoirs, which we hope to take into production in the near future.
Okay. So you're into, from looking at your website, sandstone gas and coal bed methane. Can you just explain perhaps what those two things are?
Yes. So in respect of our initial exploration, we knew the coal was there and we knew the coal was very gassy, primarily because there had been a lot of coal mines in South Africa that had been shut down because of the gassy nature of the coal, I apologise. And when we went to do that exploration drilling, we were very surprised and very pleasantly surprised to find not only did we have gas in the coal seams, but we had significant amounts of gas that sat in the sandstones and mudstones, not only in between the coal seams, but also above the coal seams where it had been trapped by these geological features.
Okay. So why the focus then on gas and why gas in Africa?
Yeah, Mark, it's a really good question. I mean, South Africa has been historically so strongly powered through its large coal-fired power station infrastructure. It has been one of the largest in the world. In fact, it's been a significant carbon emitter because of that. But over the last few decades, South African coal has become more distant from those coal-fired power stations. It's become dirtier in terms of it's not as calorific in its value, and it's indeed deeper to mine. So it's become more and more inefficient. And above all of that, South Africans are also, like the rest of the world, looking for much more cleaner solutions than coal-fired power. So against that context, gas has really arisen, as it has in many other parts of the world, as such a wonderful potential substitute for that energy supply.
Okay. Can you just elaborate a little bit on why gas is more of a cleaner solution? Because I think when people hear like clean energy, they're thinking renewables, solar, wind. So why is gas a cleaner solution to coal?
Yeah, certainly if you look at gas in the hierarchy of cleaner energy, yes, look, it's certainly not there with wind or solar. However, those sorts of energy solutions for a country such as South Africa, which has enormous energy demands, are going to take a lot of time. They're going to take a lot of first world investment and a lot of first world technology to bring to fore. In the shorter term, we would say that gas as a substitute to coal is a very handsome substitute, because it can, in fact, reduce carbon emissions by up to 50% by, for example, being used to co-fire electricity production in those coal-fired power stations. It also has other uses, potentially even towards the production of hydrogen in the future, where we think it can be very beneficial as well. So we think there's a very strong angle for gas. And at the moment, Mark, South Africa doesn't really have any onshore gas producers.
And will your target market then for the end product be strictly in Africa? Is there what the market lies, do you think?
100%. So um, even though our project is enormously scalable, if we were to take it into large-scale production, we would not be able to satiate the just the South African demand alone, which is massive. There are several other, should I say, up-and-coming companies such as ours who are also looking to be gas producers, and I think we all have a view that we hope we're all successful because there's more than enough demand for the gas that could be produced.
Okay. So you said you've been sort of in the area for 10 years and you now have a resource, is that right? What sort of stage are the projects at then?
Yeah, so Mark, we have approximately 7,000 square kilometres of rights in South Africa. The majority of those are granted exploration rights. And as an interesting statistic, that's approximately 2% of the entire landmass of South Africa. But what's more strategically important for us is that those rights were secured in and around what we saw as the most gassy coal fields that could be commercially explored. And in addition to that, we situated them next to existing energy infrastructure. So all over our rights, we have existing coal-fired power stations, as I said, that could take our gas. We have an abundance of rail and road infrastructure, electricity transmission lines, and indeed the only gas pipeline that comes down from Mozambique intersects our rights. So we think that that's strategically very important as well. Okay.
So what about historical activity in the area? You mentioned now you are in an area that I think has seen some activity. What is there any historical activity or operators in the area that can help give you confidence in your project areas?
Yeah, no, we are very close to a first mover. As I said, there's only 2 gas production rights that have been granted in South Africa, one to another company, which is pursuing a similar endeavour to ours, but also has an angle on helium gas. So they're not probably as dedicated towards natural gas as we are, and ourselves, who have another gas production right. So as I said, it is a bit of a race to get this gas out of the ground. What we would say, though, is our resource is the largest of any of those parties. We have nearly 5 trillion cubic feet of gas that is certified as a contingent resource in a 2C category.
Okay. So what does the roadmap look like then? And do you have to do further exploration? And what are the plans to actually get this gas extracted and to market?
Yeah, so Mark, I think this is the really exciting facet of our story at this juncture, because over the last 10 years, I said, we've been pretty much a early stage explorer into, ensuring that our gas model was sustainable, finding the gas, ascertaining flow rates, sustainability, etc., environmental compliance. But now we're at a point where we're actually drilling for early stage production. And what does that mean, Mark? That means that we have 3 more wells planned between now and the end of this year and early 2021. And those wells will hopefully join 2 other successful pilot production wells to form a gas production cluster of potentially 5 wells. And that will be a very exciting milestone for our company, because it will mean that we will become one of the first gas producers. We expect to have off-takers in place, and indeed we will be able to certify our first maiden reserves.
Okay. And that will be when? Around the end of this year or early into next year?
We expect to be able to drill and complete holes before the end of the year. Certainly, whether we can get a cluster in production, we'd rather say that would be the first quarter of 2022.
Okay.
But these are not difficult holes to drill, Mark. They're in a oil and gas context. They're very cost effective. They're shallow wells, and as I said, they're environmentally compliant.
Okay. And are you currently having conversations with off-takers, or is it a bit too early to be having those at the moment?
No, indeed we are, Mark. In fact, because of that extraordinary gas demand in South Africa because there virtually is no gas available to the broader market. We have multiple off-takers at the moment with whom we're talking to, and we're very, very confident that over the next few months we'll be able to say more about where our gas will be going.
Okay, so that will hopefully time well then with these 3 wells, and then perhaps getting this production cluster set up in Q1 next year. So perhaps a turning point then for the company. How are you feeling about where the company's at the moment and the immediate future?
Oh, look, Mark, extraordinarily excited. I mean, beyond that small production cluster, we have told the market here in Australia that we also are in deep negotiations with a South African institution who to joint venture fund a 20-well cluster. So we expect to move to a greater cluster in the first half of 2022. And that's only the start of our journey, because to give your listeners some context, Mark, we've found already 37 gas compartments. Now, that represents exploration on only 20% of what we would call our prospective geology. And in those 37 compartments, you could expect to house 100 well clusters. So you can see the project is enormously scalable.
Okay. Well, Adam Serakovsky, the Executive Chairman of Kinetiko Energy, thank you very much for your time.
My absolute pleasure, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.